please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. And this is the last of these videos that will indeed be dropping. We have reached the conclusion. It's very, very exciting. It's very, very exciting. We've gone through the 6 constant mitzvahs. What are the 6 constant mitzvahs? They are Old Testament commandments that... sorry, the cat's open. I just noticed. Hello, Ninja. They're Old Testament commandments that deal with your interpersonal relationship with God. And we've been studying for the last 50 days. 50 days because it's this period called Sfirat HaOmer, with an incredible amount of spiritual potential. Will it have paid off? I hope so. We put the work in. Let's see what happens over the next few months. Although over the next few months, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we're not going to see the World War with Russia heat up, and we're probably going to see a civil war, like a kinetic civil war within the United States. It seems to be that way. I saw this morning that Biden, in a desperate attempt to save himself in the midterms, now wants to ban, I think, about 98% of all guns. With common sense legislation. Look, common sense, mate, will not be trusting you or the government with bloody anything. Okay, if anything, arm yourself to the teeth right now. Go and get your tank and put it in your driveway. That would be my recommendation. But anyway, who knows? This was the building blocks on which the future, or the next 6 months were built on. Next 4 months, I say, were built on. What are they going to bring? I don't know, but I do know that with this system that we put in place, we should be able to cope with anything. Which is one reason I really don't like Obi-Wan Kenobi, the TV show Obi-Wan Kenobi. Okay. He's living in Tatooine, he's in the desert, and he's all pathetic, and he's like not using the Force, and I'm like that, and he's saying, what's the point? Dude, what use is the Force? What use is any religion if it can't get you through tough times? I mean, really? So reasonably useless. But anyway, that's what this is for. So today, it's actually a 49-day cycle. The 50th day is a review. We're going to review everything together, and then I think we'll launch into what's the next steps, right? What is the next steps? That's always a good thing to look. Honestly, something I always ask myself is, what is my next step in my service of God? Like, what does God want me to do, right? Why put God put me right here and now? For what reason? What what would He like? The answer is sometimes surprising. Okay, before we get into today's the final lesson in this cycle, like, share, subscribe, comment, sign on my Substack. All those things are fantastic, right? Fandabby, double dozy. So let's look at this epilogue. Man, I feel particularly splendid getting through all this. In a discussion of the 6 constant commandments, we have attempted to show how these 6 commandments are intertwined and reliant on one another. I think they've succeeded in that. In many ways, however, we had to sacrifice the forest for the trees, i.e., we could not focus on common threads that run through any of these commandments. So that's interesting. Lest we obfuscate, I think, obfuscate the individual principles and set forth in each commandment. Now we have completed our study. However, it'll be enlightening to see the beauty and cohesiveness of these 6 constant mitzvahs, 6 commandments. Okay, that sounds fun. We define each of the first of the 5 of the commandments on 2 tracks. On first track being understanding and relationship, we develop an understanding with God and explain how we are supposed to relate to Him. The second track is we will call purpose, the purpose track, where we focus on God's purpose in the world, and we discuss how we should take part in it and relate to that purpose. That purpose, unless, by the way, you have been specifically told by God, and other people know that you've been specifically told by God, should not involve hurting other people. Okay, in any way, shape, or form. Just want to be very, very clear about it. God doesn't need your help to be judge, jury, and executioner. Okay, so understand the relationship track. So let's of these commandments. The first one, faith in God. I am your God who brought you out. Blah 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 blah. We define faith as a clear-cut knowledge of God's existence. We explain that, as opposed to mere faith or belief, Okay, so we're using the word amuna. With the Jewish word amuna, it goes deeper than faith or belief. A deep-stated knowledge, right, of God's existence, something that's deep in your core, right, that will prevent a person from acting in ways that counters that knowledge. Fine. So the second one is not having any other gods before him. Prohibits us from believing that any other force that God possesses, any other force than God possesses power, even if we realize that force is subservient to God. So the third one is the oneness of God. Well, I always find the oneness of God fascinating. Requires us to recognize that God is one, and that which means nothing other than God has true existence. So love God is the commandment to love God. Okay, that was pretty easy. Which can be achieved through the study of his works, the Bible, and sacrificing for his sake. And fear of God in terms of understanding and relating to God. Fear means awe of him. We develop this all by when we realize our overwhelming insignificance in comparison to him. Well, a bit of a bummer, but okay. I think I can go along with that. There's a footnote. Should I read the footnote? So on awe of God, many commentators note there are two forms of fear of God, which would be defined as awe and fear of punishment. We suggest these two forms coexist in two tracks, and we are presenting fear of God as awe as from the awesomeness of the greatness of God, and affects our understanding relationship with him. The fear or punishment is the fear that we will not take part in the purpose of creation. We will show that in the purpose track. Okay, so this is which we're into right now. So purpose track of faith, Emunah, requires us to realize that God must have created this world for a purpose. That purpose is to benefit mortals by offering us the greatest pleasure possible, basking in God's divine glory in the world to come. Tell you, that better be darn good, right? That better be really. I mean, listen, they've talked that up a lot, right? Since we experience that pleasure only if we earn it. Our role in this world is to pursue spiritual growth and perfect ourselves. It seems reasonable. So not being other God prohibits us from living for any other purpose other than what God has created the world for, right? Because such the creative world for, because such an existence will be meaningless and hollow. A little bit fun. Okay, oneness of God teaches us that God created the world only for the purpose of allowing us to grow and attain perfection. All events, circumstances that we experience are orchestrated by God in a way to facilitate our spiritual growth. My rabbi, Rabbi Noach Weinberg, of blessed memory, whose rabbinical ceremony this whole thing came from. This was one of his things, the 6 constant mitzvahs. He told a story once. So he met a guy, and he's who wanted to donate a lot to the seminary. Right, and he says, you know why? One time I was riding my bike, right, and I was on a windy mountain road, and a truck came the other way, right, and I went off the edge of the road, and there was no way I was going to survive. No way, I was dead, and I knew it. And then I landed, and I had a bruise, and that was it, right? And I landed, even though the bike was okay. That was a miracle. God did a miracle for us. Now I believe in God. So the rabbi said, you know what? Do you think God did a miracle to push you off the cliff as well? Yeah, it's the same God who saved you. It's the same one who pushed you off. Everything's a miracle. Everything is trying to get your attention to make you better. Therefore, even the most mundane aspects of life, and even those events and circumstances that seem to obstruct our growth, must actually contain some opportunity for growth. The Satan, the evil inclination, is part of that process, playing a role of coach to continually challenge us in order to help us grow and attain perfection. So that, I believe, is a significantly different worldview from Christianity, as far as I understand it. Love of God requires us to love God. Okay, but again, you said that on the tin, mate. in order to us to create a world of purposeful challenge for our sake. And for granting us as tools to surmount challenges we face, a true lover of God loves life and appreciates each moment that he can spend perfecting himself. Yeah, I mean, it's a high bar to get to, mate. High bar. And fear of God requires us to deepen our recognition that we are not living in the world for tenuous, fleeting. We're not living in this tenuous, fleeting world, but for the world to come. We will enjoy eternal reward. Therefore, we should not fear circumstances that will affect us in this world. Rather, we should be fearful of the possibility of our own actions may render us incapable of attaining perfection necessary to enjoy the eternal reward. Actually, if you want a biblical example of that, Abraham was scared after he went to war with the four kings after his nephew Lot was kidnapped by them. So he went to war with them and he won, right? And then he said he was scared, right? He was scared that he used up all his merit. So not going after your hearts and eyes is unique in that it is not split into two tracks. It is a commandment not to get distracted and forget all the awareness that we have developed in the previous mitzvahs, previous commandments, both in understanding and relating to God, and in our need to take part in His purpose in this world. The above two tracks are not mutually exclusive, nor can they be developed at the expense of the other. The understanding and the relationship track provides the basic philosophy behind the purpose track. Successful implementation of these commandments is contingent on studying and internalizing both tracks simultaneously. So, seeking a refuge in a dangerous world is the final heading. So the Book of Learning, Book of Education, finds scriptural allusions to the 6 constant commandments in the verse from Bamidbar. What's Bamidbar? It's Numbers 35:13. There shall be 6 cities of refuge for you. Right. This is basically if you kill somebody by mistake, the relatives can then come after you. Right. If you're like swinging an axe, then the axe head comes off as you swing it up and it lands in somebody's head, and then the brother or the son of the person you just killed in a rage kills you. They're all forgiven. Right. But if you get to a city of refuge, you're fine. So that basically the basic idea behind this is that if God determined that you were going to be in this kill somebody, even by mistake, if God determined that that's what's going to happen, then you need to do something in your life to fix that, right? You need to. It speaks of a lacking within your own soul, right? And that lacking will be fulfilled by going to live in this city of refuge, which was populated by the Levites, who are like teachers and artists and writers. Someone explains the comparison. A person who murders unintentionally is protected from an avenger of the victim's death as long as they stay in the confines of the city of refuge. But if they leave the city, they are no longer protected. That's up until the death of the next high priest. But if he leaves the city, he's no longer protected. So too, one who remains within the confines of these 6 commandments is constantly protected from the influences of that seek to take us away from God and Bible service, godly service. In modern times, this protection is more necessary than ever. That is true. When 2 nations are at war, well, it seems like pretty much all of them are. And there's a sense of conclusion is imminent. Each side will use forces and means necessary to their disposal to deal the final death blow to the opponent. So too writes Rav Sadok Cohen of Lublin. I have no idea where that was. When we are in the final throes of a war with Satan, which I think we are right now. I think Satan's dying, baby. He will use all the means possible at his disposal to deal us a death blow, which is what we're seeing in the world. We must find the means to battle him successfully, lest we lose the battle. In all likelihood, we are witnessing the Satan's release of all forces at his disposal. A conclusion seems imminent. Levels of impurity have never... Okay, this was 15 years ago, right? Had never been extremely difficult to access in previous generations, now foisted up by billboards. And this is before mobile, people had phones, right? Market count in corner stores. Furthermore, technological advancement turns devices that we consider necessities into normal living, such as computers and cellular phones. That's how old this is. Into minefields for the soul. That is, I mean, it is basically a handheld porn device, isn't it? Because most of us are unable to live live without the convenience afforded by modern life. Well, you can't even work or function, right, without a phone. Almost impossible for us to take physical refuge from all these hazards. Our hopes for success are therefore contingent on our spiritual cities of refuge, which is learning, studying, making yourself better. We cannot rely on them for refuge. We must, if we simply study them once, we must review them, and we must develop them a deeper understanding of awareness of them until they are reflected in every action. The 6 constant commandments can and should transform us to make us impervious to dangers in the world by causing us to seek nothing other than spiritual perfection and closeness to God. In the merit of our study and the implementation of these mitzvahs, these commandments, may we be delivered from those dangers, and may we earn the ultimate reward of basking in the glory and God's glory for all eternity. Speedily in our days, may that happen. So I want to close with a suggestion, a plea, an idea, right? That I think we will be good if we all did. The best way to learn something. Well, firstly, review, right? Honestly. Go to Amazon. You can probably get this book now. 6 Constant Mitzvahs. It's based on serious lectures by Rabbi Yitzhak Berkowitz, by Rabbi Yehuda Heimowitz, in collaboration with Rabbi Shai Markowitz, who I know. Fine. But you should be able to find it on Amazon, right? Review. I understand, like most of you people are watching it are Christian. I think there's a lot of stuff here that's universal for all peoples of faith. Maybe if you have a Bible group, take it to that and see what you can glean out. But the most important thing, the best way to learn anything, the best way to make something part of yourself, right? The best way to transform yourself is to teach it, right? The way you learn something is teach it over, which is why I do it, which is why I've done this more than once, right? Which is why I normally do a teaching thing, during this 50-day period. It's a way of refreshing yourself, of making something real within yourself, and that's really what I would like to hope. Like, that you are real with the existence of God, right? And what that means. And if you do that, whatever comes away, and again, I think scary times are coming. In the next few months. Whatever happens, we can cleave to God, we can stay close to God. And I believe just as it was in when the Jews wanted the desert, right? We had these clouds of glory that protected us from arrows and spears. The clouds of glory are our involvement in what God wants, God's Bible, God's ideas, being the people that God wants us to be. That is a cloud of glory. I hope it offers you complete and total perfection. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining for this series. Join me next year. Who knows or dares to dream what we will be doing. My name is Tzvi Lebetkin, the rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.